Hey everyone. Okay, so this video today is going to be about empty-handed or hand-to-hand combatives techniques for Minuteman applications and just kind of your day-to-day too, as it applies. But a lot of it will have applicability for Minuteman type stuff. So to start, there's a lot of stuff out there. There are a lot of fighting forms out there. There are a lot of good combinations of fighting forms out there. So I will premise this with saying, if you find one or two styles or fighting forms that you like, pursue them and practice. You know, train and practice. That's the biggest thing. From there, just, you know, as that preface of sorts, when it comes to hand-to-hand combatives, one of two things. Either you need to be extremely sneaky and quiet for a reason, or something has gone very wrong and your primary and even secondary weapons like edge weapons and stuff are out of the picture for whatever reason. With Minuteman stuff, military combat, you know, all that stuff, you know, contracting and everything, if your weapon systems are down and out for whatever reason, I mean, you're in a pretty bad spot and you're in survival mode. That's where edged weapons and then hand-to-hand combatives come in. So, with hand-to-hand combatives techniques, especially for Minuteman applications, prepared citizens, and just general self-defense, kind of broken into those two sections. Again, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Is jiu-jitsu good? Yeah, but that's ground game, so you need standing. So you need to take boxing or Muay Thai, something to combine with ground game, with wrestling and jiu-jitsu kinds of things. So if you're going to pursue a technique or a system like that, that's what you really is the optimal thing to do, is to have standing and ground game grappling techniques and things like that. Do you want to go to the ground? No, not in a real world situation. You want to do everything you can not to go to the ground and be, you know, be on the ground and have your back to the ground or your back exposed. You're in a bad spot then. Jiu-jitsu is good for that if you do end up going down to the ground, but you don't want to go to the ground. So that's why boxing and Muay Thai are good. And gutter fighting. Okay, there are multiple forms of gutter fighting. One of those things that came from William Fairbairn, a little from Bill Underwood, and then after that, Colonel Rex Applegate. And you have guys, and I've mentioned them before, and I'm really gonna mention these guys now. Bill Wolf and Tommy Moore, okay? These two guys, along with a couple of other people out there that are teaching the Fairbairn gutter fighting and things like that, excellent at what they do, and it is a comprehensive real-world application. They're real-world application fighting systems. Okay, Tommy Moore does a lot of boxing incorporation in his, but solid gutter fighting. He's across the pond in the UK. Bill Wolf is out of Canada, but he comes to the States a lot too. And again, there are some other groups out there doing the Fairbairn fighting systems. Okay. I am affiliated with Gutter Fighting Secrets. My buddy Will runs that organization. A lot of good training material that's on the YouTube channel and on the website. Again, there's going to be links to all these channels for all these people, as well as for books on Fairbairn gutter fighting, as well as I'm going to include a link for the U.S. Army Combatives Comprehensive Program Manual down below in the description. That's the other thing. Modern military combatives, whether it's SOCP, whether it's McMap, all those things, they're pretty good, but there are some deficits, and that's where gutter fighting really is the best fighting system. You don't have to be a top-tier athlete to train in gutter fighting. It is meant for real-world application. It's nasty stuff, hitting the groin, gouging the eyes, ripping the throat, breaking jaws, you know, all that stuff. The necessary hand-to-hand combative stuff that is going to be most applicable for people in their day-to-day out in the real world and your combat application and Minuteman stuff and things like that. I have a lot of edge weapon training, and I train in the Fairbairn system a little bit. I did a little bit of Muay Thai back in the day too. There's some other good systems out there. People really talk up Krav Maga or Krav Maga, however we pronounce it. There's also Krav Hanag, which is taught at CRI in Vegas. That is a like a PMC training academy, but they offer courses to the public as well. There's a couple of other ones out there. Krav overall, besides Krav Hanag at CRI, Krav overall in the U.S. is very different than what Krav is taught in Israel. Krav is taught as a military combative system. It is lethal. The U.S. versions of it are neutered. I'll just put it that way. In large, they're neutered. It is not the same in the U.S. as it is in Israel. That aside for Krav. Gutter fighting I prefer. It's much more practical, it's adaptive, and sky's the limit with that fusion of fighting system for empty-handed or hand-to-hand combatives. Okay, so military, you take Army combatives, you combine it with gutter fighting, you take jiu-jitsu and boxing, you combine it with gutter fighting, various things like that. You will have a really good, comprehensive, and well-rounded skill set and capability when it comes to hand-to-hand combat and combatives in general. We're not fighting for the octagon. We're not fighting for the ring. Do you want to train for those? Yeah, fucking go for it, you know? Gutter Fighting Secrets, my buddy Will, right now he's training to fight in the octagon. Apart from teaching gutter fighting and everything. And Tommy Moore also boxes in the ring apart from teaching gutter fighting and fusion systems and stuff. So there is some crossover, absolutely, obviously, you know, with MMA too, but there is a restriction with those because there's rules in place. You can't do certain things in the octagon in the ring. The things that you should be doing in the real world that get neutered out of that. So that's why I say gutter fighting is one of the best, most adaptive and broad systems that you can train and learn in. Okay, there's a lot of good manuals out there, and there are a couple of instructors out there, but a lot of the time you can do this stuff on your own too with a training dummy or training partners and things like that. Again, it's nasty stuff: kicking the groin, chopping the throat, gouging the eyes, you know, all that stuff. You know, doing the hand up in the what's it called, frenum or whatever, brain fart, all that kind of stuff. You know, smashing the head against the ground, wall stuns. You know, all that stuff that is completely applicable for people in the real world. Again, there's a lot of systems out there that are neutered and have strayed away from what their original intent was. That includes a lot of old martial arts. A lot of the time, you know, it trains discipline and stuff, which is good, but it's not teaching you and setting you up for success in the real world in a lot of ways when it comes to those fighting systems. Do you want to study in them, or do you want to take them? Yeah, go for it. But you have to remember the applicability of it and how you have to adapt it to the real world. Okay? And again, that's why I say gutter fighting and some other fusions of systems together, or if you go to Israel and train in Krav, which, you know, you can do, apart from other systems, that's the way to go. Okay? Another thing. So, Army, Warrior Skills, manual. So there's combatives here. Okay. It's just like a 4-page section on combatives. Okay, so Military Combatives in the Warrior Skills book is fairly brief. It gives you a brief overview of grappling techniques and things like that for the ground game. Again, I'm going to be adding in the description from the army.mil hyperlink for the entire Army Combatives manual, digital manual, so you can download it. I'll also be including links for the Hand-to-Hand Combat Series books, the Fairburn Gutter Fighting books, and things like that, available at Gutter Fighting Secrets. You can also find them on Amazon and other places as well. And I'm going to be linking the channels for Bill Wolf, Tommy Moore, Gutter Fighting Secrets, and Fairburn Protocol H2H, another guy who did some videos with the Fairburn Gutter Fighting stuff, kind of at the basics, and some other more advanced stuff. He hasn't put videos up in a long time, though. That being said, okay, so there's a lot of good systems out there. There's a lot of ways that you can train. There's a lot of ways that you can apply different systems and multiple systems together to make the most comprehensive hand-to-hand combatives technique system for you and your Minuteman team and things like that. Gutter fighting is military commando gutter fighting, because it is originally a World War II commando fighting system developed by William Fairbairn and some other guys, Underwood and stuff, in that time period. That is one of the easiest ways to get up to snuff with combatives, both for edged weapons and hand-to-hand, empty-handed combat, for your Minuteman team and things like that, as well as for yourself in your day-to-day preparedness. You know, you see a lot of videos out there of stuff happening in the real world. You know, one not that long ago, some guy in New York was trying to, like, abduct some lady's kid out of the stroller, like, near Times Square. And a guy who had military combatives and jiu-jitsu background just went up, rear naked choked the guy, took him down, and grappled him until assistance can come. That's one situation for just your day-to-day kind of thing. That's not that's not the same way that you're going to do it in a combat application, okay? Combat application, you need to incapacitate the dude. You kill him, whatever. So that's why the lethality of systems needs to be assessed, and its applicability or adaptability for yourself and your team and whatever, for Minuteman application, private contracting, security work, whatever, as much as in your day-to-day, you know, out on the town and things like that. Again, hand-to-hand combat and combatives in general is your last resort. That's your weapons, your firearms have failed. You know, for some reason you don't have your an edge weapon or a blunt weapon or whatever on you. That's what you have are these and these. Okay, so you know, then you have to go in your guard or whatever you want to do for posture, based on the forms that you're taking or whatever. You know, protect your jaw and your face. You need to control the space, and you need to inflict rapid, immediate damage on your threat and on their body, to render them incapacitated and or take them out. Okay, again, gutter fighting, there's no holds barred. Okay, nut kicks, stomp them, chop the throat, gouge the eyes, you know, lethal chokeholds, break arms, break hands, you know, all that stuff. Okay, bludgeons, you know, hits to the head, smash the head on the ground, you know, stuff like that if you end up going to the ground, all that kind of stuff. There are no rules in the real world when it comes to combatives. Obviously, in the day-to-day, there can be legal implications with certain things. So, enhanced restraint is a factor with assessment in your day-to-day general stuff. When it comes to combat, no fucking rules, okay? That's something people need to get through their head, too, because they see all this stuff, they see all these, you know, UFC fighting and, like, all this stuff. It's like, there are no rules in combat. There are no rules. When it comes to hand-to-hand stuff, you know, and taking a threat out. Okay, there are no rules with that. Obviously, there's, you know, Geneva Conventions and whatever. When it comes to conventional warfare and, you know, regulations of nations and things like that, that's one thing. Hand-to-hand combat and survival is another. Okay. You know, in a Minuteman application, for example, and something goes wrong and you're having to fight a guy hand-to-hand in a trench and you end up killing him, nobody's going to come after you for that kind of thing. You know, on a legal side. Again, exigent, specific situational dictation, you know, and that varies based on what the situation is and what you're doing and everything else. So, kind of off tangent there. But, that's what it is. So, hand-to-hand combatives techniques, there are a lot of good ones out there. I'm going to provide you with a lot of good instructors and resources here in the description. Be sure to go check them out, follow those guys, pick up some of this material, learn and train, okay? You can't just read it and say you're good. You need to actually put it in practice. A lot of people don't realize how much energy it takes on your body. You expend a lot of energy in a 3-minute fight, okay? That's how it is. You get winded and tired very quickly. So you need to be as quick and lethal and effective as possible. That's why I say gutter fighting is one of the best systems to go with. Because of its adaptability, its wide range and scope, as well as it's easy and quick to learn as well. Okay? But again, find what you like, find what you want, multiple disciplines, whatever. practice them. Train, hone those skills, find the applicability for what you need in your day-to-day, and also in the exigent extreme situations too, okay? So that's really it. I figured this was probably a good way to explain this, and based on the votes and the percentage and everything when it came to the poll that I put out. So there will be other videos coming out based on the polls and comments and suggestions there as well. So again, go check out all the links in the description. Pick up some of this material. Get out there and practice and train. Okay. There it is. Metal up. Out.